Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. I have beside me here some Hobby Lobby wood crafts, and I got them a while back and I just haven't gotten around to working on them. I'm not sure how much I'll actually get done in today's video, but let's get started. So this cute little 4-drawer piece is probably one of the more expensive items that I have here. It costs $31.99 regular price, but you know, often with Hobby Lobby, I think every other week this would probably be half price, so that wouldn't be too bad. I was happy to see that these little handles or pulls are easily removable. My plan for it is to spray paint everything white, and then I have these wooden knobs that I plan to use for little legs. And I want to fasten everything before I paint it. And then for the drawer fronts, I plan to possibly do a Mod Podge or a Decor transfer, not quite sure yet at this point. So I use the multi-tool to cut down these bolts, and then if any little splinters or anything stuck out on the end, I use the band sander to sand that off. It's just easier to screw it into the knob if I do this. So I think it's warm enough that I'll do my sanding out here. It's a little bit chilly today, but beautiful. The sun is out. So I think I'm going to go with Decor transfers for this piece. I have some really pretty floral ones that I think would be fitting to a little jewelry chest or whatever someone would use it for. So once I started laying the transfer down, it really bothered me that my drawers weren't flush with like the cabinet part. So I think I'm going to remove them and put something in the inside to kind of bring them up. It'll definitely make it easier to apply the transfer when doing this. Here I'm applying anti-Sloan clear wax over this piece. I really like how it's turning out. I think it's super cute. So the next thing I'm going to tackle here are these set of 4 coasters. And I actually need some coasters for one of the Cottages Sparrow's Nest. So I think I'm going to kind of make them for that, or keep that in mind. Maybe something vintage, sparrow, floral, not quite sure yet. I'll probably start out by sanding it, and we have a chilly morning here in Ohio. So I think I'll just sand here on my counter and then can clean it up afterwards. I found some really pretty sparrow images on Creative Fabrica. And if you are interested in trying it out, I do have a link down below in the description box. But I used Canva to design it, added some vintage stamps, and printed it out here on my HP printer. And I'm using my S1 laser engraver to cut them out. But you could totally just cut them out with the scissors too. But being that I have the engraver down here anyway, it'll just do a better job of cutting out a perfect circle. After Mod Podging the images onto the circles, I waited until that was dry and applied a coat of Mod Podge on the top. And then once that was dried, I applied Mod Podge to the sides and the back. That way everything would be the same sheen. I wanted to add a little something to the box that is holding the coasters, and I thought maybe just a French word or something would be kind of fitting. Here I'm just cutting out a Decor transfer. Since there are 6 coasters and I really just need 4 for Sparrow's Nest, I'm going to go ahead and engrave the other 2. I'm going to put a few Christmas designs on the one side and then maybe a J and an M on the other side. That way I can use them year round, just flip them around. And often these days, you know, with busy boys, it's just John and myself in the living room, so I thought I'll make coasters for us. So the next thing I'm going to pick out of my Hobby Lobby craft stash is this bird feeder. And first when I got it, you know, I thought I'd use it as a bird feeder, maybe even a jelly feeder in the springtime. But being we're kind of not in that season right now, I'm actually going to use it for something else. First I'll paint it. I'm just using my regular spray paint. I really like the Rust-Oleum spray paint. I often get a satin sheen, and this is their white color. I'm going to paint it, and then I plan to try to squeeze a plant in here. I thought, how cute would this be to kind of turn it into a little planter or a plant house. We'll see how it goes. I know I have pothos plants everywhere, but they're so easy to grow and I love the look of them. So here I'm dividing one, and of course I can't use a large container. I wish I could somehow remove the top or the bottom on this to get the plant in, but it's just not possible with the way it's made. So we'll do the best we can. So my final craft for this video is this cutting board, and John thinks it looks more like a board of correction or a paddle. I'm not sure why he would be familiar with that, but to me it's a cutting board. And as I'm editing here, I kind of have to smile to myself as I see all these menacing tools here that I plan to use to distress this piece. My goal is to make it look really old and vintage and used. And spoiler alert, it didn't really work for me. I'm not sure, was it the kind of wood or did I just not have the knack to do this, but in the end it all kind of turned out, but it didn't work out the way that I wanted to begin with. My plan was to just make it again, look old and even drill some holes in it to make it look like, wormholes, and then stain it. And in my mind it would have been a nice dark oiled vintage looking cutting board, but in reality it actually turned out looking like a diseased piece of wood, and it did not nearly look like I had intended. So as you will soon see, I'm going to end up painting it. So I'm not really happy with how this turned out. I feel like this part of the wood where it's still smooth is too light for the rest of it. I guess in my mind I was picturing everything would turn kind of dark with some of these lines, just a little bit darker, not this much contrast. And I realize I'm kind of painting everything white here, but what I have in mind for this board is to add a decor transfer. This would just be for decoration purposes. And I'm even thinking of doing a Christmas one. So if I do decide to add, something red or green or kind of Christmassy, I want the background to be white. I think it'll just be much easier to work with. And here I have some Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint. The color is cotton. Cheryl from Patterson Art Studios sent me a box of Dixie Belle paint earlier this year. And every now and then, if I'm doing projects, I love to try them out. And I haven't used this cotton color yet, but it looks like a really nice white color. I gave this piece 2 coats of paint with a light sanding in between. Now let's take a look at some before and afters, and 2 of these pieces will be available on my website in case you're interested in purchasing one. The one is the jewelry chest and then the cardinal cutting board.